Hey,
Hey,
CJ, what's up?
what's going on? We
What's
have
going on? What's not going on?
we have the lovable Clay, Lenna in the house. Where's Izzy?
No,
I
let
saw
me
she, I saw
let's
she
look.
got the Ada handle Junes.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, somebody in the community bought it for her.
Oh, that's awesome.
I actually thought sometimes when we do stuff together, we like the quality isn't so good. We talk over each other a bit. I offered. I didn't forcibly remove her. Don't worry.
No worries. I'm sure she's cool. Um, did you guys get Clay on the Ada handle?
Yeah, I did have to buy it on secondary. But actually in the first mint, so like a couple of months ago.
Mhm.
I think I can't actually remember what I possibly paid 500 or 1,000 ADA for it,
Oh,
but
nice. All right.
worth it. It's worth it because it will mean that we can actually integrate a lot more with ADA handles moving forward with our token and in game. So actually it was a solid investment, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's pretty much priceless at that point, whether it's 500, 1,000, or 2,000, you're getting freaking $ Clay.
Yeah, I'm getting it. Yeah, exactly. But like they weren't too bad. They didn't rob me too hard. They could have
Totally.
done worse.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I was very lucky enough to get the CJ Lovelace. Someone got it for me. They listed it for 10 million and asked me to retire them.
Oh, not as bad as Pavia Morgan.
How much was his?
Oh, no, no, no. It wasn't as much as 10 million. I think it was up for 42,000 ADA and someone said retire me and then
Oh,
he got
fair enough.
he got a little bit upset.
I don't know how you can retire off 42,000 ADA, but
Yeah, neither.
so be it.
You can try.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Well, one of the most pressing things that I was curious about was I wanted to talk about the very first creation of the Charlie Berkinson
Hmm.
and how that came about to be like, all right, we're gonna make a clay about Charles Hoskinson. This is gonna be the very first thing. We're gonna do an animation, blah, blah, blah. Like, how did that all come together?
So I think most people know I was involved in the Cardano community long before the concept of Claymates and Claynation came about. So I was kind of observing the space. I was observing space birds. I was observing sea bits and like that kind of, the first few things that were coming about. And I was looking at the different NFTs on like many blockchains, different cross-chain ideas. And I just thought, what's missing is something that's super fun, like and stop motion animation,
Mm,
and that's just got a bit of character that has a bit more of a story. And so I came up with this idea that well, like knowing the Cardano community at that time, they just like everything was about Charles Hoskinson. So I
right.
thought it'd be kind of funny to do that, but like with our own story behind it. So instead of just doing Charles Hoskinson, we created this character, Charlie Berkinson, and we had an adoption story for him. So like you didn't just mint him, you read about his adoption papers, and it's this character that was found in a tree, bird in his head, and that's why he'd been abandoned or something like that. And so we kind of tried to make it more like of an experience in that sense, and then yeah, we just took it from there, I guess.
And the bird in his ear, was that actually based off of some kind of true story?
Not based on a real Charles Hoskinson story, but there was at the time a lot of this bird thing.
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember in the Cardano community, it was all about the birds.
It was all about.
Bird was the word at the
Yeah,
time. So yeah, it was kind of a nod to that.
totally. And okay, so will you describe your team to me? You have you, Izzy, Joe, the animator.
Yeah, we have Vladimir, who is our developer and blockchain technician or wizard, as we say, a
Mhm.
blockchain engineer, wizard, legend. He's the kind of the mega brains on our team when it comes to the script writing, when it comes to the coding, when it comes to getting everything to everyone safely and kind of making sure that is tight.
Mhm.
He does a great job. He's been with us since Charlie Mint as
Oh,
well.
no way.
So
Wow.
yeah, so from the beginning, I kind of we got in touch at the beginning, and then yeah, he ends up obviously staying with us, and now is full-time play or he's in. And Joe, obviously, as you said, he's our animator. He's full in Claymates, Claynation, and Izzy, my partner in this as well as in real life. Is co-founder, and we couldn't do it without each other, which is
Yeah.
great. And then we've also got Sammy, who is our experiential visual designer. She recently joined. And then, of course, we have Lally, who's also my mum. And she's a community manager. I plucked her out of her
I love
job
that.
to join us because she was really passionate about it. And like, it's one of those things, she really was involved from the beginning in a kind of, because she cared about what I was doing way. But then it became like, she knew more about it than I did, about Cardano and about, she got really involved. So that made sense to me. And then we have Jika, who is our illustrator, and she helps with the concept art. And then more recently we have Angela, who's a freelancer, but we're hoping for her to join us permanently as a 3D designer because she's been working on the play attributes for the 3D models. And although it's a freelance contract at the moment, we've been so impressed that we would like her to join us moving forward. So we'll see how that plays out.
That's awesome. You have such a big team going.
Well, it's quite small. It's like 7 people doing a lot of work, but we also have our amazing mods as well. So shout out to them.
Absolutely. The one thing that stuck out to me was that your mom helps you guys, or you said community manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's that like? Like, do you have a really close relationship with your mom? Because just speaking as like a guy, like if my dad would be my community manager, like it'd probably be kind of hard.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like the reason that it was so easy was because she was kind of already doing it without it being a real job. Just kind of by her nature, like in that sense, she was already volunteering the amount of hours that kind of job would be, just because she was enjoying it. So all I really did was just say, well, do you want to do this a bit more and actually be part of the team and kind of benefit from it in a way, which means you don't have to worry about your other job that she didn't like at the time that much. So it was a way that she could do it officially, so yeah, it's really good. Like she already knew most things. Every now and again I have to remind her that we're working together in an environment that is not a mother-daughter relationship, but we get on really well. We always have. So
yeah, that's amazing. What got you into a job with, you said IOHK? How'd you start there?
Yeah, briefly. Well, yeah, again, from being involved in the Cardano community prior. So I was operating a stake pool and had been involved in just like really deep in the community, really, like just
when you say operating a stake pool, do you mean like setting it up and the logistics of it and all that?
Yeah, I was running it with my friend Jay.
So you're tech heavy and like,
oh no, not really. No. He was helping do most of it. Yeah. So I would say that, yeah, my role was more in the marketing sense of it, but I was trying to learn a bit about things like CM tools and various like aspects of it, as well as just putting stuff out on Twitter. I wanted to kind of be a bit more involved in that. So that kind of was my deep dive into learning a lot more about the community, about Cardano as a blockchain. And from there, it kind of was a bit of a rabbit hole, I guess. And so then being more involved in the community, I reached out to Tim Harrison, he was at the time communications director or community and marketing.
Not to be confused with Timmy Harry's son.
Exactly. And he actually knew who I was just from Twitter. We have a connection, which is that we're both from Brighton in the UK. And so I think that kind of meant that was like a bit of a rapport before.
Absolutely.
And he asked me to send my CV, and I did. And from there, yeah, I just went through the motions really and joined, as community coordinator. But I didn't stay long because of Play Nation took over a bit.
Absolutely. And so I'm sorry if I missed it, but what was your role in IOHK? What did you do?
Yeah, so my job title was community coordinator, and I was basically exactly that. Like I was trying to organize events,
very cool,
make sure that everyone had what they needed to.
Well, you're good at that. You got a Clay meetup coming, I think April 16th in London.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't so much for physical events, but like keeping everyone informed. So like stake pool operators were one community that we were working with, the developer community, and then we were trying to kind of build a creator community just before I left. But I think that they've got someone else in that position now who's doing really well.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's very clear that you are pretty good at doing that, considering Claymates and Clay Nation together is the #2 or #3 project on Cardano, and it's only been out since September as well.
Yeah.
So tell me about the Clay meetup on April 16th.
Yeah, so that's the one in London, right? Yeah.
We have so many.
Yeah, we've got a couple. I mean, they meet up at the moment. All I can say is it's in Herne Hill. Is it in Herne Hill? Yeah, I think it's in Herne Hill. I'm pretty sure. Sorry, can we start that bit again? So I'm just kidding. You can cut it. Tell me about the meetup. It's in Herne Hill, it's in London, and we've got at the moment, yeah, like 50 or 60 people have signed a guest list.
Wow.
Which is pretty big. I mean, the venue itself, we just have gone for a really nice pub, and you know, being British, we've kept it fairly moderate. It's going to be 12 till 5, and then obviously if people want to stay late into the evening, they can. What we've done at the previous meetups and what we'll do at this one as well is we'll show some of Joe's original animations from when he was younger, before he was on the Claynation team and Claymates team. And we'll also actually give everyone the opportunity to create their own characters with Joe helping them.
Yeah. Would you mind telling us a little bit about Joe's background? I don't want him to feel like we're speaking for him.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, we can, if you want, even next week, I can probably ask him if he has some time to chat to you. I'm sure he does. At the moment, he's preparing the Clayverse stuff. So Joe is really young. He's 21 years old, and he's been animating since he was 7. I mean, the stuff that he did when he was 7 years old is amazing. Like, he was showing me all kind of dark, like he's got like kind of gory, you know, makes his little
he's got a gory imagination.
It's really fun. Stuff. Yeah, you saw some in New York, exactly. And he, it's not, I don't think he's ever done it professionally in the sense of like gone to, I say professionally, I don't think he went to uni or school to do it. It's a natural talent and something that he's put hours and hours and hours in. But yeah, I would absolutely love for him to be able to share a bit more about that background, as you said. But all I know, he's very talented, and that's why we kind of got together.
Totally. It's very cool that from a young age he was doing something like animating and just putting it to work, and now he's here literally running the animations on Claynation. And it's funny because you said, oh, like, you know, he didn't professionally, meaning what you meant by that is go to school or whatever, but it's like the people who just focus on what they love and just practice what they do, they really turn out like the most creative, unfiltered.
Yeah, like you can really see it as well when he's animating, and sometimes he just spends like 8 hours or 10 hours solid just doing stuff, and because he's enjoying it and gets really into it. But yeah, he can definitely share a bit more about that. And I've been a fan of some of his YouTube videos prior, and then got in contact and so joined us, and I just knew that it was like the perfect match for it.
How did you find him? Was it a website or?
Yeah, originally from YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Oh, wow.
He was freelancing at the time, and I like plucked him off. I was like, "You're not doing that anymore. You're coming for us full time." It's like so.
He loves clay, and you guys love clay, and then your worlds just met.
Yeah.
And how did you love clay in the beginning? Like what?
I was a big fan of claymation movies, so like stuff like really silly, but stuff like Chicken Run. I mean, what a film! It's so good.
Or like Wallace and Gromit, is that?
Yeah, exactly. Love Wallace and Gromit, like that sort of stuff. I love how it can be. It's like for adults, but it's got this real nostalgic feel. It makes you feel like secure. I don't know, something about it, and that's kind of why I wanted to bring it into this NFT scene.
So I like that you use the word secure, because Claynation at first, I was definitely put off. I was like, oh my goodness, these are like so like in your face, or like real, you know, like there's such emotion to them that it almost like it made me like nervous. I was like, I don't, you know. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, I think I actually like indulging in this feeling when I'm looking at this clay, or any clay amongst the 10,000 Claynations. And what ended up happening for me, I was like, wow, they bring out your insecurities in a wonderful way. And then in turn, if you can get in touch with that, they like make you feel secure. You're like, like that's human. That clay piece right there is like human. Yeah,
for sure. It's like a bit more relatable than
very relatable
animal projects and stuff like that.
Yeah, very much so. One thing that stood out to me is the orangutan stories. Will you tell us why there's 12 orangutans?
Yeah, sure. So before we did the launch, we knew that we wanted to support a few charities. And as I mentioned before, we have this initiative called the Clay Way, which is also an ethos, but something we've done since our first mints back in the day, we decided for this drop that we would not only donate a percentage of our proceeds, but we would also adopt some orangutans in real life. So we looked on the orangutan project.
So you have 12 orangutans hanging around your house right now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Squeaking. It would not be fair to have them in our house, but we basically went on to the orangutan project, and we saw they had 12 up for available, and we just decided we'll adopt them all. So we paid for the sponsorship for them for an entire year, and it will roll again. And so they will make sure that they have like adequate care, food, rehabilitation and medicine and everything like that they need for the entire year. And then when that's up, we'll definitely be readopting them. So it was nice, and we got like the kind of stories and everything like that for each one. And we just thought it was a nice touch, like every time one was pulled, we did get the new adoption.
I love that. And where are they?
I think they're all over the world. I think that they're not actually in our house, right?
No, they're not in your house. But like what country are they in?
Let me just check.
Everywhere? Oh, you can check.
I think that they are in a couple of different locations mainly. But they're key.
And why orangutans? Are they endangered?
They are endangered. They're also incredible animals, and it was also my grandma's favorite animal. She was obsessed, like just loved them, and she always said like she was always trying to make me go on these like orangutan survival awareness things, and I never actually got to go because they're all abroad and stuff like that. So I think that some of the ones that we adopted are in Australia, and some of them are in Bali.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'll have to triple check, but yeah, no. So they're kind of all over the world, and
so that's why there are 12 orangutans. 1,000 because Clay Nation adopted a dozen.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm excited for people to know that. I don't think everyone is fully aware of that. I know you guys definitely mentioned it, but
yeah, well, I can always reshare the animation. We did a little animation when we were doing the release with a little orangutan that jumps on the computer screen and presses adopt. I'll try and find that so you can, I don't know, insert it here. Is that how it works here?
We will absolutely insert it here, John.
Copy that.
Cool. Absolutely. So another thing on my mind is the Clay token.
What do you want to know?
How will those be distributed first and foremost?
Yeah, so we shared the kind of slightly deeper dive of our tokenomics in the Clay paper, as I'm sure you know. But no Clay will be available for sale. We're not having a public sale for it. So some of it, I think 10% is going to be available through staking with Clay Pool. So that's Clay Stake Pool. Check it out. You'll be able to.
Cool. Everyone stake to Clay.
Yeah, this is an advertisement. This is financial advice. And yeah, you'll be able to redeem your token through that. Holding any Clay Nation Good Charlotte, Claymate, Season 1, Season 2, expansions, Clay Fellas, collaboration pieces, they will all be eligible to redeem a fixed amount of.
And there was a point system for that, right? Like Clay Nation was 2 points.
Yeah, Clay Nation is slightly. We haven't shared the exact distribution on that, but there will be a slight weighting on that. But also,
I was thinking of voting then. Clay Nation.
Yeah, voting at the time there was the vote, absolutely. Okay. There will be weighting. So yeah, Clay Nation, you will be able to redeem more Clay token, but it's also vested over a period of time. So say for example you redeemed it today, then you would redeem it. That's great. And then in 6 months you'll be able to redeem again, and then in 6 months, and if you didn't redeem and then you handed over your Clay to someone else, they would then be able to redeem those tokens. So they stay with each Clay until they're redeemed. And so that's another way of getting them. And then we'll also have a contributors pot. So say for example you contribute to Clay Nation development by writing an awesome piece of code or creating an amazing shop or environment or experience in Clay Nation. We'll also be rewarding people like that, and then we'll also have voting for that.
Will you touch on what you were saying about the 6 month thing that went right over my head?
Oh, sure. Sorry. So we haven't fully shared the detail of it, but the point is that it's not just a one shot
The one
drop.
shot. Got it.
It will be, you can get an amount, and then after a while, for holding that, you'll be able to get it again.
Holding the token or holding the play?
Holding the Clay Nation, say for example,
right.
Sorry, my dog's come to say hey. Holding the Clay Nation, or any other clay. So they'll have different periods of time in which they will elapse, and then you'll be able to claim again. But it will kind of show you how much you have available. And if you didn't claim it
forever, or is
for a long time, for a while, yeah. We're planning that to be a long period of time so that we don't release everything all out at once.
And what kind of percentage is going to be distributed in this every X month distribution? Is it all the token?
Not all the token, but we will share the full detail of that in our next Clay Paper update, which is in about a month, I think.
Amazing. Yeah, no, feel free to just tell me. Feel free to just tell me that you haven't.
I know you're trying to get inside info. So in May we'll also have our pitches. Pitches are like our plots, so the equivalent to like a plot or land. We have our pitches. We're calling them pitches because when you go to a festival in muddy England or maybe somewhere else, you have a pitch where you put up your tent. Right. So
what I like about that is that it's just like, even as shallow as just changing the word, I like that it's different than everyone talking about a plot or land. It's like, oh, that's a pitch.
No doubt everybody will still call it that, but we just thought, we'll start with, we'll call them pitches.
Love that.
They can be different sizes. They will also come with a token allocation. So when you buy your pitch, I nearly said land, then you'll also get a token allocation with that airdrop as well. Yeah.
Interesting. Have we discussed if the pitches will be rewarded to holders?
Not for free, no. But you will have minting priority.
Like a whitelist of some nature.
We're calling it a clay list because 2022.
Obviously, yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you don't have to say clay list with everything. Don't worry.
But it's fine.
Okay,
I feel like whenever I'm talking about clay, if I don't put clay in front of everything, I'm kind of doing it wrong.
We actually had somebody sell their clays because they got annoyed about that.
Is that a true story?
Pardon?
Is that a true story?
Yeah, they tweeted us. They're like, I'm selling my clays because you keep saying everything with clay. I was like, fair enough. Good clay to use there.
Sounds like a great idea. You should continue your investing based on how the creators do great.
Exactly. No, it's all good. Each their own.
Cool. And as much as you're willing to tell, what will we be able to do with Clay token?
So again, a lot of this is going to be shared in our updated Clay paper to avoid speculation too much. It will start off as a governance token, but ultimately will be a utility token in game.
Will you explain to me, like I'm 5 years old, what governance means?
It means you'll be able to vote on certain things.
Got it.
Yeah, like long story short. So anyone that holds Clay token will have an input in the future of Clay Nation, effectively.
Fair enough. Do we know if Clay will be traded on a DEX?
Yeah, we would hope so. We plan on providing liquidity. We're deciding which is best. We're looking at Muesli Swap and Sunday. I haven't yet spoken to Sunday, but
totally,
it's in the works. We'll get there.
Can the devs make it go to the moon?
I can't possibly comment. No air on the moon.
That's true. There's no, does that mean clay can even exist on the moon? Can you make clay on the moon?
I think the moon is made of clay, last time I checked.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. How did the Good Charlotte collab come about?
Joel messaged me. So Joel Madden, no, I'm just kidding. Joel Madden, I noticed was following a few people in the NFT space. Joel Madden being the lead singer, and like when I was a younger woman, when I was a teenager, I really liked Good Charlotte. I think maybe you're a tiny bit younger, definitely. So maybe they just missed you on that phase of me and my sister. We used to jump off the sofa, like, air guitaring to that stuff. Yeah. So it was pretty embarrassing, thinking about it. But at the time I was having fun. So yeah, I was a huge fan. And when I saw that they were following us, I was kind of taken aback, like, what is going on? Because it still doesn't really feel real when you notice these people that have been names in your life, like, you know, for the most of my life, I've known bands like Good Charlotte and various, you know, like Fall Out Boy. I noticed Pete Wentz had liked something by us, and I was like, what is happening? Pete Wentz is the basis of Fall Out Boy. And yeah, it just kind of brought back all this like this teenage teenage me, I guess. I was like, be cool. So then I can't remember if I dropped him a message or if he dropped me a message, but we ended up exchanging numbers and then just kind of having a conversation about like what we're trying to do in the space. And we really aligned on a lot of that, you know, what we were both trying to do, which was like be ourselves and explore what this kind of environment can be and what this community can bring and what we can bring to it. And so after like discussing that and also being quite into music, we just came about this collab thinking it was perfect for Halloween, kind of having this gothic vibe to it.
Totally. I bet Joe had a ball with that, knowing you guys were doing a Halloween drop.
Yeah, exactly. It was like we weren't actually planning on doing that, you know, prior. I don't think we would have necessarily done a Halloween release.
Came out of nowhere. You guys had Clay Nation in the middle of September. And then right?
It was a quick turnaround.
It was, now that I think about it. It felt much longer, I will say.
Yeah, it was like just under 2 months in between. So like obviously that's not really normal to do a 10K drop and then another 10K drop. But like I didn't want to pass up the opportunity. I didn't want them to collab with someone else, like for that kind of drop straight away.
I want to say something though, is that you guys did it right in terms of the way you gave priority to the Clay Nation holders.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you guys did it perfectly, unlike the way a lot of other projects decide to do their stuff. Like, and you guys didn't even leave leftover to mint publicly because you wanted it to be a straight variation or
Exactly. We felt that was a good way for it to be as a utility perk as opposed to just another drop. Right. You know, just us doing that. And obviously it was something we were doing with Good Charlotte, so it wasn't all for us in that sense.
It didn't really knock value to Clay Nation either, because I will say from someone who watches the market. So for example, I don't remember exactly what the numbers were, but let's say right before the Good Charlotte drop, Clay Nation floor was like 1,500 ADA. When the Good Charlottes people started to list them for sale, let's say the floor was like 500. Clay Nation, the price only dropped according to Good Charlotte. So it was almost like the same difference. Like if the Good Charlotte floor was 500, Clay Nation's only dropped 500, vice versa. If it was 300, then
it really wasn't too tragic.
Nothing. Well, there was my point is there was no tragedy. Nothing really happened. It just kind of diversified itself.
Yeah, exactly. It gave another entry point. And I guess something that's problematic with that is that then people expect or ask for utility with the Good Charlotte stuff. And initially that, you know, we had some plans, but like loose plans that we were figuring out. And as we saw Good Charlotte as utility for Good Charlotte Clay Nation, we were a bit like, oh, you know, do we then add utility to that and onwards? Like, where does it end? But then actually having that kind of 20,000, well, just under 20,000 characters actually ended up being perfect plans for us moving forward. And we will be able to offer that, you know, with upcoming releases, especially when it comes to Clay Nation as an environment with the underworld. It actually made perfect sense. So yeah, they got more than they bargained for, I think. People that didn't.
I couldn't agree more. I was very happy with it. Do you know off the top of your head how many actually minted? It was like 9,400?
Yeah, it was 9,548 or 9,458, I think.
There we go.
Roughly. Yeah, so not bad, because we obviously, you had to have a Clay Nation. Some people didn't know. Some people were on vacation. We had a few people messaging us the day after, like, oh, I missed it. Is there any way? And I was like, sorry.
Yeah, part of the process.
You know, we were kind of warning for weeks, so yeah, that kind of sucked. Actually,
who ended up claiming the guitar? You guys gave away a Good Charlotte guitar.
Yeah, it's actually just been shipped to us by Good Charlotte.
No way.
So then we have to sign it and then we have to send it. So yeah, somebody won. I actually don't remember their name off the top of my head.
No worries, but
it was announced. I can have a look. One sec.
Someone didn't claim it first, though, right?
Yeah, they came to us 3 days after we chose a new winner, unfortunately.
And you chose a new winner like how many weeks after?
We left it for over a week, I think.
I think it was even over 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'd left it between
Good amount of time.
yeah, I don't really know what to say, just it was a while.
Yeah.
We tried to do a lot of warnings. We obviously shared, we sent them an NFT with the information on how to claim. We then tweeted about it. We announced it in Discord.
Remember.
We tried to find them through verified handles, and we weren't able to do so.
I remember.
Yeah. So
and I was so beside myself. I was like, man, how do you, like, they're getting bombarded. How are they not?
Yeah, unfortunately, no. They were studying, apparently. That's what happens. Don't go to school, kids.
Don't go to school. You might miss a guitar.
Exactly.
Is there anything you would like to specifically share? Anything burning on your mind?
No.
I have plenty of questions.
No, you go for it. I'm quite happy with it.
How did the Space Buds collab come about?
This was originally back in June last year. So this was when we were still pretty early days. We were doing well as a smaller animation project. Obviously, this is before Claynation. Space Buds were doing well as Space Buds, and I just got in contact with Alessandro Berry and Alessandro Conrad, and who is better known as Berry. And I just asked, we want to do something, but we want it to be official. I don't just want to do like a tribute piece. I want to do like an official collab,
Right.
And I kind of laid it out, and how's that sound? And I think that we have mutual respect for each other, for each other's projects. So it made sense, and also it was something that's super fun to do for the community as well. Yeah. Everyone was super excited. That was obviously a really small, like, at the time it felt like loads, like 650 NFTs now feels like nothing. At the time it was like, we're gonna even, it was really nerve-wracking, and it went really well, and people collected them. And the value recently has been like crazy, because I guess people are trying to ensure they can get the second part, because you have to hold one to be guaranteed a slot for the second mint, which is coming up next week.
Right.
Which might have already happened by the time this is aired, I guess.
It's very possible, and we're all very excited. One thing that I wanted to ask, okay, something that came on my mind, there was actually something else, but what makes you decide as a creator, we're going for Claynation, for example, you chose to do 10,000 NFTs. Why not 5,000, or why not 30,000 and then just a lower mint price, or vice versa, so on and so forth?
From best examples of some of the projects that I've seen succeed with a good number of people involved in a community, that seemed like a solid number. I mean, it's arbitrary to an extent. We felt at that time that we had built ourselves up enough that we could justify that size mint. It wasn't super expensive. It was 38 ADA.
Yeah, it was nice.
Which now I'm like looking at these Ethereum projects like, what have we done? We minted on the wrong blockchain. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But it seemed reasonable, and it seemed fun, and other projects were doing that, and we felt actually that, damn right, we'll do that. We felt so confidently that our project was good.
And for the people who will be viewing, why did you choose Cardano instead of minting on Ethereum?
Well, I actually said this recently in Cardano 360. Cardano for me is like home in terms of a blockchain. Like I was already so involved and engrossed in Cardano as a blockchain prior to starting Claymates. So it would have been super mad for me to then go off and learn loads about Ethereum or about Tezos, and as well as that, the kind of key thing that drew me to Cardano in the first place was the fact that it's an environmentally sustainable solution and alternative.
Right, opposed to proof of work.
Exactly. And so that for me was one of the key reasons. And also it's inexpensive. It's inexpensivity, is that a word? So it's cheaper. It's very, it's cheaper. That's a better way of saying it.
and so, with in the same breath, environmentally sustainable.
Yeah, exactly. So more sustainable in terms of fees and in terms of actual environment.
Right. It's not, to be clear, we're not saying cheaper meaning like cheaper material.
No, sorry, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not cheap. It's no.
It's
What I mean is,
inexpensive.
we can do a lot more for a lot less. It wouldn't have necessarily been possible for us as a startup
Precisely.
without much
So
to mint on any other blockchain.
So-
Without that kind of knowledge.
Can I ask a question? Are you saying that it's a lot easier and a lot more realistic to scale on Cardano than
It completely depends. Depends where you're starting, I think. I think that there are different solutions and different blockchains are going to be more suited to different projects.
right?
For us, this was like, it made sense. And where we were as a project, it made perfect sense. It must be easier to start off selling the odd thing there, here and there, when you don't have to pay extortionate gas fees, just to mint your artworks. Like if you are trying to do that as a small scale thing, I do think Cardano is a perfect place for that. Especially with more and more people adopting it, more and more people are using it. I think that is going to see a shift in those small talents that are struggling otherwise to be able to get their stuff, on marketplaces which cost to even list.
Yeah. I've recently thought that there will be a time where no one will really pay attention to, oh, that's an Ethereum NFT. Oh, that's a Cardano NFT. I think there will just be a point where all NFT projects come together and then the cream rises from there. And the best projects will be the best projects regardless of their blockchain. Do you think that that's realistic, that thought?
I hope so. It's what I would like to see. I think some people are very deep rooted in their cultures of their blockchain, so to speak.
I think it looks that way today.
And
like you said, I hope that I do hope that someday that kind of idea will dissipate. There would definitely
I hope so. I don't see us now as a Cardano NFT. I see us as an NFT project that
100%.
has the solid foundations to we think that we have the potential to be recognized in the space as a whole, not just on Cardano.
100%. And I myself have actually just recently ventured off into NFTs on Ethereum, and happily, and I still love all. I don't really. I've gotten to the point where I finally don't really care what blockchain it's on. I was, like you said, it felt so at home at Cardano, so I would just focus on Cardano NFTs. But now I look at projects on Ethereum.
Neighbors.
What's that?
Neighbors.
Yeah.
They're just across the pond.
Exactly. It's literally the same thing. And I myself, admittedly, I can be very tribalistic, but all humans are tribalistic. I don't know if that's a word, but whatever, we're going to use it.
Yeah, probably more word than whatever I said earlier.
It's how we've survived as humans. So it's just only natural to do that. And I think if the whole community has more compassion on that, understanding that tribalism is in our DNA, but we can kind of work our way around that and recognize that, oh, maybe I'm being too tribalistic about this. Let me go venture off somewhere else, find more community elsewhere. I think
we can definitely learn more from each other. And it will only help us together stronger in that sense. It will benefit the whole ecosystem if there was less of that. But yeah, as I said, time is what you need, really. You can't rush these things. There's no point forcing people together that don't want to be together. Just let them, it's like with animals, actually. You have to let them find each other and otherwise they just fight. So
I agree. And I think that mindset and the fact that Claymates view these things like such, I personally believe that's why you guys are where you are and why you will continue to be extremely successful.
Thank you.
Which is why I love clay.
Oh, do you?
Why I have a lot of clay.
Well, thanks for believing in us.
Totally. So Clay Buds season 2 is coming out, and I'm guessing by the time this video is out, season 2 will have been minted. But what are we looking forward to? I saw we had a frog preview the other day. What else do we have? We have a shark.
We've got a shark. We've got an ape. We have the robot. We have
tiger.
No tiger. Yes, we do have tiger. Yeah.
Tiger.
all of the ones that went in the first round, we've got. And we also have maybe a little sneaky something, but hard to know because this is going to be aired afterwards. So we didn't.
Totally. I'm excited to see what that sneaky something is.
That's just the way we do it. I mean, just adding something fun in there. I mean, I guess anyone watching now hopefully knows what it is. So
possibly. Okay, so I remember one time we were talking and you were explaining to me how in series 1, how you gave people the mints for series 1. You were telling me about a story about someone cleaning their house. Will you tell me about that story, or was it giving series 1 NFTs away?
Yeah, it was the burn editions. At the end of every release, we destroyed the original Clay character in the real world to signify it transcending to the blockchain. And we didn't really know how to distribute those extra ones, so like the squashings or the crushing and destruction. And so one day I basically just tweeted saying like, oh, you know, gotta do something nice. you might just win something. And yeah, I mean, it was when we weren't really very well known, so it's not like that something was worth a lot, you know. It's not like if I released now, do something nice, you got Clay Nation, you know, it's instantly like, oh,
no one was doing it with money in the front of their mind, like,
yeah, it was just like, exactly, it's like, oh, more for the collection's sake. Absolutely. And so this guy Shrimp, he went and
shout out
by the way, yeah, shout out to Shrimp. By the way, you guys and girls should always do this for people. It's just nice, you know, not just a special occasion. But anyway, on this occasion, Shrimp did go and clean his whole house and like hoovered, I think, swept, dusted, the full works, and then it also prepared dinner for his partner Loza. And she got home and was like, well, and she messaged us on Twitter saying, I don't know what you guys did, but I've just come home and my house is like the tidiest it's ever been. I don't know what an NFT is. I don't know who you are, but I salute you, kind of thing.
That is hilarious.
And from there, she ended up she actually got involved in the community. She saw that it was like this kind of fun, you know, before it was obviously his thing, I guess. And then she was like, wow, that's actually a bit cooler than I thought. Like, I don't know. And she ends up getting really involved. And then this is my favorite part because later down the line, so a month, like maybe 6 months, well, I guess from April when that happened to September, she ended up buying some ADA and minting Clay Nation. And she pulled one of the orangutans.
Oh my goodness. That is fun. Is that the one with the eye patch and the heart?
Yeah, the blue one.
The blue one.
Yeah, I think it sold for 80,000 ADA on the day after mint or something, and it just changed their lives. Yeah, so it was crazy. I think that was it. I can't remember the exact price. So sorry if that's way high.
Yeah. And back then, that was $250,000.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't 80, maybe it was 40.
Okay.
Maybe it was worth £80,000. I can't remember, but anyway,
it was a lot of money.
It was not nothing. Yeah, exactly. And for them, it was a big deal. Yeah, I think it was 40, not 80. Sorry, just to reiterate, I don't want to like give out fake numbers by accident.
All right, do your own research.
Yeah, DYOR.
Sure.
It was still huge. Yeah.
Very cool. So to sum that up, for the burn editions in series 1, you would do little challenges or contests, or just kind of gave them out as charitable, as other people doing nice things.
Exactly. We did some like random anagrams on our site, or like passwords, kind of clues we were hiding. People had to find those and oh
my gosh, like Easter eggs.
Yeah, exactly. Like we actually hid literally an Easter egg on our site, and if you clicked it, you can win.
That is so awesome. And there was 10 burns. There was 10 burns at the end of every series 1, right?
Yeah.
10 burns. So it's not like there was a lot of them.
No, they're quite limited, and I just gave them away. I pretty much just drank some beer one night, gave them away. It's all good. Yeah.
So for everyone who doesn't know, series 1 is comprised of 7.
It looks like 6 because Charlie's 00.
Yeah, number 00 to number 06, and it's 7 collections of 100 of each, so 700, and then plus the burns would be 770, and they are stop motion animations, and the rarities are based on the background.
Yeah.
Which which you can see in my clay video that will be up prior to this podcast show interview.
So, yeah, so for the one-of-one backgrounds, we had a real mix of finding photographers from various all over the place, like some guy called Ole, who was a follower of Music Stateful, which was what Clay was before. He was a talented photographer. He did the Shanghai. He is a talented photographer, not was. He's still with us. He provided a couple of photos for that. We also contacted some photographers from online. We found some friends.
Wow.
We
so you got your own unique pictures for these.
Yeah, we did pay for some, so like through licensed stock, just for the backgrounds. But then we always made sure that we had spoken to, or at least had the correct appropriate licenses for any payments made. And then we also credited some of the photographers for the ones that were like the specials. So some were done by our friends. Some of them, so Izzy's dad actually took one of Colorado, and because he used to go there for work, and like another one was taken by my auntie, and another from one of my best friends when she went skiing. So that the Alps one is from her ski holiday. So some of those photos are actually got a kind of personal connection to as well. And then some of them we paid some photographers in various mediums.
It's amazing how when you do these things from the heart or just from your own passion, these Easter eggs kind of manifest on their own.
Yeah, exactly.
Of like, years down the line, it'll be very, very, not that it's not interesting already, but it'll be like, oh, we literally took that picture.
Yeah, exactly.
Really there from Izzy's dad or.
Yeah, exactly. I wish we took them all, but they're still really good. Yeah, and then obviously just the colors and stuff like that in the background as well.
Very cool. So we have series 1, and then we have series 2, and then we have the Hatchables. We have the Hatchables and other collabs with Sweet Fellas, Clay Buds.
Yep.
Good Charlotte.
Yeah.
The Garage.
Yes, the Garage.
What inspired the Garage? The Garage is one of my favorites.
We just thought it'd be fun. Like literally, that's it. Sometimes it was just like, let's have fun. And we just thought like, what else can we make? That's not just like people or characters. Like what do these claymates that have been adopted need? They need pets, they need cars. Like it was just kind of fun,
Interesting. Maybe we'll get garages in the Clayverse.
Who knows? That's not
and then you have the animals, right? I think that sums it all up.
Yeah, exactly. That's everything, mostly.
So that's
probably
all Claymates.
That's a lot of clay, yeah.
all Claymates prior to Clay Nation, which is what
our rebrand. Yeah. It's kind of where we decided that we wanted to go in a slightly different direction, which would allow us to have a larger community and development goals, really.
Okay, so clear that up for me. So are you guys still called Claymates?
Our Twitter handle is the Claymates. I would say that we're the Clay Nation moving forward. We're the Claymates. Like that's
you guys are the Claymates.
Beginning. It's unforgettable. It's our unforgettable beginnings. It's our truths. It's our roots.
Right.
So I said our truths. Our roots. Yeah.
Our fruits.
Yeah, but Clay Nation is us growing up. Let's say.
Right.
Which not really though. We're still staying pretty fun. It's just like it's our natural progression into something that is going to be continuously developed, and it's just going to be what we look into more moving forward in terms of development. Like Clay Nation Festival and environment is all going to be revolving around Clay Nation characters, and that kind of theme is slightly different. It's just a slightly different theme to the animations before, but they'll still be incorporated in both worlds. They come together nicely. It's just
let's talk about that. So we're gonna bring Clay Nation into the Clayverse. Is that correct?
Clay Nation is the Clayverse, so to speak. So like,
fair enough.
It's called Clay Nation as a world, as an environment.
Right.
Clay Nation. That's what I mean. It's like that's the whole thing. Is that like Clay Nation is this festival environment, or is this atmosphere, and is this thing that you're a part of.
And okay, so here's something that I've always thought of. all these metaverses that all these people are creating, are they expecting or are you expecting people to put on VRs to experience this, or is this on the computer on a website, or both?
We'll always have web compatibility available, but we are intending for VR and AR compatibility in the not so distant future. We plan for that to be part of the reason we recently hired Sammy. She's an experiential visual designer. She has experience working on immersive theatre productions, some of the largest in London, and at festivals all over the world. And we want to bring that to our community, initially virtually, yes, with VR and with AR technology, but ultimately longer term, we also want to have these events in real life as well, and bring that to the real world, not just in your computer. We want this connection to be more than that.
Wow. So just off the top of your head, what does that look like, bringing Clay Nation to the physical realm?
I foresee in the future. Iz and I have always wanted to run a festival.
Yes.
So Portugal 2025, 2026, I don't know, let's see. I think that's something that we're really aiming to make happen in the future. It's just an idea. I mean, it's an idea that's very, very real, and that was always the kind of forefront of our concept, was this festival environment. We both love festivals. Who doesn't? It's where you can really be yourself, and that's what Clay Nation's all about, is being yourself. And what better way to do that than with virtual environments that are truly immersive,
right?
And then actual pulling yourself out of that and in the real world as well, whenever that's possible. And maybe that will start with small events such as our community meetups. You were there in New York, and then moving forward, those will scale. And if you have our Clay Nations, and you're going to be able to join us with that. So it's your VIP pass forever.
Yeah, in a sense. So what is that in you that has the desire to want to run a festival? Is it like you want to give people that experience that you feel? What's the fire inside you? It's like, I want to run a festival in the future.
I honestly, it's like my favorite thing to do is go to music festivals, and rain or shine. It's something about festivals that I think allow true freedom of expression and creativity. Like, there's not really rules. When you're in a festival, it's like different. As soon as you walk in, it's like it has this whole energy. It's an understood, unwritten rule, which is just like a place of no judgment. It's a place of expression. It's a place to be yourself and to experience things together with people you don't even have to know. So I think that's how it would work, and I love the idea of being able to design something like that. It's not necessarily something that we're far along with and thinking about. It's just like something we know that we wanted to do, and so if we can start that in a virtual environment and then scale that to be physical, then how could we not want to do that? I just I don't know. Are you a festival fan?
I'm a big fan of festivals. I haven't been to many because I was traumatized by one. I went to Hard Summer one time when I was really young. I went when I went when I was like 17 or 18. It was really hot and sweaty. I was really excited to see Travis Scott, and and so I didn't understand festivals, so it was my first one. I went to the front waiting for Travis Scott. He was going to come out at like 4 or 5 p.m. I was there at 1 p.m. and I was like in the front vibing with the DJ or whatever. All of a sudden, Travis Scott comes on, and I look behind me, and there's like, I don't know, a quarter mile worth of people behind me. All of a sudden, he comes out on stage, jumping up and down. My feet aren't touching the ground because
it's like wedged up, right?
And and then I ran out. I was like, all right, I need to go to the back and get some water because this is not what I'm about. But I'm a big
fan. The more gruesome side. Like if you're really in those massive crowds and it's like packed, like I would go the more like chill vibe. The more chill environment. So, we won't be Travis Scott as a headliner. He already turned us down. No, I mean we turned him down.
100%. We don't stand for that.
No, I'm kidding. I rate Travis Scott. It's cool.
I'm a big fan of being comfortable, and at the same time getting down and gritty with some of my favorite people around me and people who enjoy music around me. Like I haven't been to as many festivals as I've been concerts, but I went to a Tame Impala concert in October, and that was the time of my life. I went to see the Strokes in October, and that was the time of my life too.
Yeah, good.
And,
good. Yeah, music, that's the thing. It's not necessarily, that's what I think is great about festivals, is you can bring together music, but you can also bring together other events, and it can be a bit of a mar of lots of things in one place. So yeah. We'll try not to get you crushed again, don't worry.
I hope this doesn't happen at the clay festivals. I'll be full of clay by the end of it.
It should be chill, don't worry.
And okay, so we put on a VR headset, and then we come in as a clay nation of ourselves. I mean, a clay nation that we own, or what's the vision?
Yeah, if you're a Clay Nation holder, then if you're a Clay Nation holder, then yeah, and you'll be able to customize those down the line as well.
To customize your avatar.
Yeah, and then I guess there'll be other access points for others. So like if you don't own a Clay Nation, we don't necessarily want to exclude people in the long run. So right now and for the short term, even long term, it will be Clay Nation exclusive in terms of having the avatars, but in the not so distant future, we'll be able to experience it as a guest, maybe with guest passes, with guest NFTs, that will be maybe like blobs of clay. This is something that we've thought about, but we'll expand on a bit more after we have these successful tests in summer.
Right.
Summer, which is in the UK.
Because that's a big question too, is that you only have 10,000 Clay Nations, right? So I think the first thing that came to my mind, and I'm assuming a lot of people would think, is like, oh, you're only the max you're gonna have a clay festival would be 10,000, but no, that is not. Yeah,
well, not to mention the Good Charlotte as well, but no, we absolutely would be looking at ways to include guests without diluting the original Clay Nation collectibles. So
yeah, 100%.
But that's like further afield, we still got to figure out how to manage 20,000 first.
Absolutely. Is there, I mean, again, only say where you're comfortable, but is there going to be some kind of game in the Clayverse? Or
yeah, I mean, we're planning on it having a bit of a story to it, and there'll be, maybe to begin with, more like mini games. While we
that'd be awesome. Like even something as simple as like Connect Four, like checkers.
Yeah, maybe a bit more than that. We want to just
a bit more like hopscotch.
Why not? We
can like a VR hopscotch.
Yeah, that's super high tech. No, we kind of want to start off offering a little bit of capability in that sense, and then develop and get feedback, and then develop and then get the feedback before we kind of go full scale. But everything we're doing, we're kind of trying to already think the storyline to make that environment. Like, it will also be with other people, you'll be able to meet up in various places, and so it's kind of going to be a cross between in-game and virtual environment.
Imagine a VR casino.
Not really my thing, but if people want it, that's something to talk about. But I think that there will be so many platforms offering that we don't need to include it in Clay Nation. Clay Nation is a place for Zen.
Yeah, it's not a Vegas.
Yeah, we've got Vegas to go to.
Not a Vegas vibe.
Yeah. We will have poker nights, I'm sure. It's like we recently, for the Sweet Fellas, Clay Fellas, I mean.
That's
we did a poker thing. That's something I can see being incorporated into Clay Nation, is like kind of poker tent, that sort of thing. But nothing, not like crazy room full of slots. That's not really my jam. It's not very relaxing.
I totally understand what Clay Nation is about. Okay, here's a question. How will you know? Okay, so let's say you're in the Clayverse, right? You got the headset on. How will you know who you're talking to, or who you're
I guess if people have their Discord handles or usenames on show, that would be
floating
or maybe when you're getting a little bit closer to them, you can see who they are. I think that's something that we aren't yet adding, but it will be something that we discuss. Like, some of it's definitely an imagination concept, and then some of it we've already started playing around with. Like, we tested some multiplayer function in one space that we've created, and we've done stuff like that. We're definitely taking it easy. We have to consider that we're not a multi-million-pound games development team. We're a team of passionate artists and developers that have come together to create this. And so it's slightly different as a process, but actually it's working really well. It's just not something that we've been working on for years and years. We've been working on it for months. So in terms of scaling, it's going to take time, but what the result will be is something that's kind of different because it hasn't got that background. It's coming from a completely different angle.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, when I propose these ideas or ask these questions, I hope you don't feel like I'm expecting that Clay is like.
No, not at all. No, I didn't think that. It was more of a reiteration, really, because you see some of these incredible games that exist, and people are like, "Are you going to be like this?" And it's like,
yeah, is this going to be Grand Theft Auto?
80 people working for us. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Long term, I absolutely imagine that we'll be expanding and taking on more and more people as we grow, and then who knows where we could go. Like, honestly, who knows what level of development we can reach. Like, I really don't see that there's a limit. It's just that I know that we're taking it day by day, so it's realistic and fun as well.
Right. Do you have a favorite part and a least favorite part of your journey the last year?
Honestly, it's all been really good. It's just been like, I'm not really one to like dwell on things or have regrets, because I think everything is a learning process. So anything that goes a little bit wrong or has been a bit tough is like, you come back stronger or better for it. So like, even when things are a bit tough, I don't know, I just find that we bounce off each other as a team, and then we move forward, and it just motivates us further. So honestly, the whole experience has just been like mind-blowing. So
it was a trick question. You passed.
Oh yeah, nice.
No, but that's growth mindset right there.
Yeah, 100%. That's it. Like, yeah, we're here to stick around and grow and learn. And like, if you stop learning, then that's where it goes wrong for me. So we're always learning and trying new things and exploring and pushing the boundaries, I guess, of not just like of the space, but for ourselves as personally, as a team.
It sounds like you guys like to stay in the present moment.
Yes, while thinking a little bit further afield, but yeah,
well, yeah
but not dwelling on the past.
Human survival, you have to kind of prepare for the future.
Yeah. If we think too much about the future, we get distracted because there's so much. So we're like, oh, what about this? We actually have to rein it in quite a lot, because we are a team of such creatives. It's like, if all of us just go at it with our ideas, we would never get anything done. Sometimes, myself and Izzy just have to say like, okay, this is where we're working, and then Vlad's as well is like, okay, we have to stay, even on that one thing that we decide on, we still manage to get carried away, and like between myself, Iz, and Vlad, like we kind of pull it back into like staying focused on that. Joe's really good at staying focused when he's doing animating, and then the rest of us, like, we bounce ideas off each other a lot, and so far I've been happy with the results.
One thing I would like to say to a lot of the viewers and probably resonate with you is that it's really not easy as a business creator, whatever, to maybe once you get in the flow of things, it's quote unquote easy, but to wake up every morning and stay focused and work on the thing in front of you, and to constantly do that over and over in order to build and stay around for the future, and to just stay headstrong like that it's very unique. Maybe it's quote unquote easy for the ones who are unique, but it's not something easily attainable. And I think a lot of the times when consumers or NFT holders or buyers are looking at these creators or saying, when this, when that, how come I'm not moving, whatever, you name it. I think a lot of people don't really take into account, as any NFT creator or project, people don't really take into account how hard it is. And on top of that, I think a lot of these NFT creators themselves don't really realize that. And a lot of people aren't realizing that when you create an NFT, it's having a baby. It's literally having there you go. You got to nurture them. You got to understand them. You turn into a business of some sort. It's literally all encompassing.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of reminds me of the restaurant business. They say 99% of restaurants fail, and it's
not a great number. I think what I'm trying to do more recently is kind of shift this image of what we are, which is what we actually are, but also to be recognized as a business as well as a creatives, right. And then make decisions that are as a business and not just as a person that's so I'm very contactable and very personable, and I think that's super important with the project. Sometimes that's a weakness because it can mean that people don't take us seriously in terms of like as a business. There's so many things people would say to me they would never say to like somebody that's running a business. So like where that difference is that I'm kind of at the moment I'm trying to shift in that direction slightly just so that we have the space to grow, still taking on that feedback just in a slightly more channeled route instead of just like at me. And I think that will benefit everyone massively.
How do you deal with that balance? Because I think I'll tell you the question right after. But how do you deal with the balance of wanting to be so personable, yet knowing if you're too personable, it can be taken advantage of or looked at as weak, et cetera, et cetera? Because I know a lot of creators that love to stay active and I love connecting with them. But I do feel and sense in the bones that a lot of people kind of, I don't know, see it as unprofessional or see it as, you know, when as a creator, when you give too much or when you are too readily available.
If you're not there, then people say you're.
And then if you're not there, people will say rug.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's definitely a balance which we've learned more. Actually, it's been more easy for us in the sense that we've just gotten too busy to be there constantly, and that's meant in a way, and it's a sense of leadership in a sense, is that we've ended up with this team of people that are there more, and they're still personable. So we have that personable effect coming from our mods, coming from Lally, coming from myself and Izzy when necessary, and Joe and Vlad when necessary. But I used to worry going to sleep about Discord, potentially, you know, some people having an argument or people stressing about stuff, and it therefore creating a bad energy, and then
like growing pains.
Yeah, I used to kind of really worry about that, and now I can sleep, which is great, because I know that there are a team of people that are doing it because they're enjoying it, as well as being guided by us. So like, you know, we're offering that advice and leadership to them, and that's kind of trickling into the community way more. And I'm really noticing it now that like if someone comes in with bad energy, it's quite quickly flattened, and not squashed, like not like pushed out in that sense. Just like the energy bounces off, and then it's like it kind of hits a wall a bit, and then it doesn't go much further. Obviously, occasionally there's the odd thing, but more recently I feel so much more settled that like that's just not really the environment, and people are letting us do our thing because there's a level of trust now. So I think when people are uneasy, then there's this uneasy energy and it's tense. But when there is that communication level, whether that's from me or from our mods, it helps so much. And so yeah, I think like that is actually priceless, having that team there that help ease newcomers and answer questions that honestly I can't, like, it would not be a good use of my time if I'm there answering everything, but we're building out in that sense, and now I'm just busy to be in there all the time, so it's like perfect excuse.
Okay, so that brings up another point that I really want to share with creators mostly. It's so important, in my opinion, to delegate responsibility. Like you're suggesting, your time is not valuable moderating your Discord. Your time is valuable being a creative director and X, Y, and Z, whatever it is you're best at doing. I think that a lot of creators now are either too prideful to delegate, or they're too uncomfortable, or they're too new to realize that they need to delegate in order to focus on what they do best.
Yeah, sure. But it's been almost a year since we launched Playmates, you know, so it has taken a long time for me to realize that. And for myself and Izzy especially, you know, we together would just be thinking like, what are we going to do about this goddamn, let's just, you know, Discord, who needs it? No, I'm kidding. But like,
who needs Discord?
Sometimes it was tough dealing with that. Truly, like,
I bet
you don't really know how to balance it. It's like, I do not have time to respond to all this, but if I don't, then it causes even more issues. So I found myself a lot. I don't want people to have a bad experience, and I care about that so much. You know, as a project creator in that sense. But delegating is important, and like, especially if you're in a position where you're able to pay volunteers as well, you know, even if it's a little bit, just to kind of thank there's thanks in terms of in giving thanks, like vocally, obviously. And then like, if you're able to give a bit more to a couple of trusted people, it will allow you to be doing much more valuable stuff. Like time is money ultimately. And if you can invest your time in the project in the most useful way, then it's going to benefit everyone long term. So yeah, I think it's really worth doing, finding a trusted team. And like I would not be able to cope without that.
I would like to take that phrase one layer even deeper. Time is money. And what does money mean? Money is value. Money,
I mean, that I should say time is, it's not actually just money. Time is value.
It's
I could rephrase it.
Value, energy. Time is
exactly. I would rephrase it. Time is valuable.
Totally.
As opposed to time is money, I guess.
No, but everyone understands that.
You can't get it back. You can't get it back,
Yeah.
And so use it wisely. And there's a balance. Yeah, as you said. I think it's definitely difficult to find the balance. I wouldn't say I'm 100% balanced, but definitely getting there.
Well, you're never going to be in the middle of the pendulum. It's always going to be back and forth like you suggested. So as long as you're crossing that bridge here and there, then you're on the right track, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I just think that if you are a creative or a creator in that sense, you have to have free time to be able to think creatively, which sounds really stupid, but like if your mind's clogged up with lots of other things, it's really difficult to like really imagine and like let go and vision what you want, like where you want things to go.
Well, what does that free time look like for you? Do you meditate? Do you just take a walk? What does that look like for you?
Well, I've just moved back to Brighton, so I'm by the sea. So taking a stroll. I've got a dog as well, so walking the dog with Junes. We just chill, when we're not working. We do talk about work a lot. I would say our free time does consist of talking about stuff, but it's like it doesn't feel like work because we are just having a natural conversation and that natural communication, as opposed to like when I'm sitting here and doing stuff, it's like we're stepping away, and then even when we're out on a walk or something like that, we'll be thinking about stuff. It's hard to switch off completely, but I think that's because of where we are in the business and in Play Nation in that sense right now, which is 1 year on. It's the most exciting time of it. Like the direction that we're going to go now is kind of, it would be crazy to not be thinking about it all the time, kind of.
100%. I understand.
We just wanted to do so well,
Just like I said, I think the most successful projects, the creators or owners or whatever, however you want to describe the title, I think they treat it like their baby. If you have a baby, you're going to be thinking about it at least 20 hours of the day. That makes sense.
Exactly.
It totally.
Exactly. I switch off is when I'm actually asleep. That's probably when I'm switched off.
That's the only time.
Yeah.
I have a question for you that can possibly help creators in the space. So let's say there's certain projects that have had a mint, they've had a successful mint, but yet they don't really have a solid plan on where to go from there, right? People love their art, people like their community, but the creators haven't really done much just yet on like you guys, right? We're creating a Clayverse token, etc. That's the plan. What kind of advice would you give a creator whose project just began?
Oh, take your time. Don't succumb to pressure from what the community are telling you need to do, which is probably token and a metaverse. I would say you don't need to do it just because other projects are doing it. And we always set out to bring our project to life in some way, and that has ended up tying in with this kind of Play Nation Clayverse, so to speak. I wouldn't say that's for every project, and you have to stay true to yourself and your goals. And if you think that that's not something you want to do, don't do it. So I think, if you're an animator, then think what can you do? Animations, this sort of thing. If you're doing art, it doesn't have to have a next step. You just have to be clear on your communication, and then when the next step is there, it will come. You don't have to have a next step plan straight away. It's not essential, because just get through the first bit and then see how you feel. Just as long as the communication is there with people that are buying it. If they are buying it for something that is speculative or is more than that, there will be a pressure there. But ultimately, that's not on you, really. Like you have to take it as it comes and plan plan a little bit. If you plan what you want, if you don't actually want to do something afterwards, if that's all it is, then that's fine. Just communicate.
It sounds like you're describing being in the moment, taking control of what you actually can control, and staying true to yourself.
Yeah. If you don't stay true to yourself, then it won't work.
Yeah, you'll be spinning your wheels if you're not true to yourself.
And you'll lose the passion as well. Like
You'll lose
if
the
you're
passion, you'll
doing for
lose
someone else, then yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry for talking over you.
Oh, no worries. That was some serious alpha right there.
100%.
I don't know where that word alpha came from. It literally came out of left field.
The jungle.
The jungle? All right, I guess.
Animal Kingdom.
Really?
No, probably. We'll do some research on that after.
Great.
I'm Googling it now. Where is the phrase alpha? I mean, that's just guesses Latin. Yes, the alpha male origin is from David Mack. Somebody introduced the idea of alpha to describe behavior observed in captive animals and animal kingdom.
You are not wrong.
That's one theory. Who knows? There's probably loads of possibilities.
All right, Lenna, is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap this up?
No, not in particular, actually. It was really nice talking to you, and I hope I answered all your questions as best as possible.
Absolutely. Let's say stake to clay if you are looking for a stake pool. Check out Clay Nation. Even if you don't buy one, that's fine. We'll still welcome you at the festivals.
Yeah, and if you're around, if this is airing soon, then if you're in London, April 16th, and if you're in Brussels, April 29th, then we'll see you there.
Sounds good.
And then we'll see you in CNFTCon in Vegas in October.
Oh, yes.
And in Colorado.
I will be there. What's in Colorado? Are you going to
Red
Colorado?
Bloom.
What's that?
It's more of a Cardano event as opposed to an NFT event. It's run by Bloompool, Big Pay, and team. And it's one of the bigger events I think happening this year for the Cardano space. IOHK going, Emergo going, I think. Charlie 3, I think even Ben Gertzel is going. I might be saying the names wrong, so maybe I should just shut up.
Very cool. All right, Lenna. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you. The whole community really appreciates you. And yeah,
I appreciate everyone as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lenna.
Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.